cup of peril is full in Vietnam. That conflict is not an isolated episode, but another great event in the policy that we have followed with strong consistency since World War II. History is on the side of freedom and is on the side of societies shaped from the genius of each people. History does not favor a single system or belief unless force is used to make it so. And that's why it's been necessary for us to defend this basic principle of our policy, to defend it in Berlin and in Korea and in Cuba and tonight in Vietnam. We will stay because in Asia and around the world are countries whose independence rests in large measure on confidence in America's word and in America's protection. To yield to force in Vietnam would weaken that confidence, would undermine the independence of many lands, and would whet the appetite of aggression. We would have to fight in one land, and then we'd have to fight in another, or abandon much of Asia to the domination of communism. And we do not intend to abandon Asia to conquest.
The president asks for a record budget, $112.8 billion. He hopes to carry out most of his Great Society plans.
Because of Vietnam, we cannot do all that we should or all that we would like to do. We will ruthlessly attack waste and inefficiency. We will make sure that every dollar is spent with the thrift and with the common sense which recognizes how hard the taxpayer worked in order to earn it.
In the early morning hours of the 13th day, the long, long walk has ended. New York's wheels are turning once again, and it's a bouncy Mayor John Lindsay who arrives at City Hall to announce the agreement formally. Gothamites have been walking since he took office on New Year's Day when the strike began.
New York's transit strike is over. A new contract between the Transit Authority and the striking unions was agreed to in the early hours of this morning. Union members are returning to work, and the buses and subway cars are beginning to roll.
6,000 buses are back on the streets within hours after the 3 o'clock in the morning settlement. An agreement that will cost the city from $50 to $70 million in the next 2 years. The Transit Authority gives the lower figure, the union the higher one. At the moment, New Yorkers care little about the cost. They're riding again. However, in a surprise press conference, President Johnson said the settlement was too high and not in the national interest. At the same time, Governor Nelson Rockefeller of New York said that the state would contribute $100 million to the city to help keep the transit fare at 15 cents for the time being anyway. There's almost a carnival spirit as New Yorkers crowd bus and subway once more. It's almost a pleasure to have someone's elbow in your eye again. The economic loss in the strike was tragic, estimated at $1 billion, plus tax money lost to city and state. A water shortage, a power blackout, and a subway strike. New York has been a troubled city. The first major ski jump of the season gets off to a slippery start at Oberstdorf in the German-Austrian meet. Rain and snow have made the course rough and sloppy. But what can deter a dedicated skier? There are jumpers from 5 countries after this title, and they all have hard going. The slope is not fast enough for any long jumps, and when they land, the experts have trouble keeping their balance. Of course, they're judged both on form and distance, but with the weather against them, the jumpers seem glad just to arrive at the bottom in one piece. A Czech entry was far in the lead at the end of the first round, but his second jump puts a damper on his hopes. overall winner is Veikko Kokkonen of Finland. He adds another crown to his Olympic gold and silver medals. Veikko comes down for a fine landing in slush like this, but ends up banging into a wall. He may wind up with a black eye, but he doesn't care.